Welcome back in our lecture series on the subject Law Enforcement, Organization, and Administration. For this lecture, our discussion will be on the Department of the Interior and Local Government. Okay, so you might be wondering why we need to know about the Department of the Interior and Local Government. Well, this is the mother agency of the primary law enforcement in the country, which is the Philippine National Police, and of course the other bureaus, the Bureau of Fire Protection and the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. At the end of this lecture, the viewers are expected to discuss the powers and functions of the DILG, as well as to trace the development or the historical background of the department. And at the latter part of the lecture is to identify the Tri-Bureau of the Department of the Interior and Local Government and their respective functions. So in this lesson, we are not going to discuss comprehensively the powers and functions of the the tri-bureaus because they will be taken in different subject matter. Again, the approach for this subject is I am going to use the multiple choice question as a jumping board for the discussion. That multiple choice question was given in the classroom, but if you are not my student or if you are preparing for the board exam or if you just would like to learn something about the subject law enforcement, organization, and administration, just participate in answering and trying to understand the explanation of the answer vis-a-vis the subject. So looking back on how the Department of Interior and Local Government evolved, we will start from the Katipunan government. We will not be dealing with the Spanish time because they have different concepts of interior security and internal security because in the Spaniards more or less have applied the continental model of policing in our country. So on March 22, 1897, the Katipunan government merged or they convened in the Tijeros Convention. Ito yung panahon kung saan nag-start na mag-unite yung mga revolutionary group sa ating bansa, started by the 8 provinces surrounding Metro Manila. Of course, meron na mga sporadic revolutionary movement before their time, pero ito yung na-realize nila na kung hindi mag-unify yung mga revolutionary group ay hindi magtatagumpay ang kanilang aim for an independent Philippine island. So, ito yung 1890s or the latter part of the 19th century, nag-start na yung unity. Spearheaded by the Katipunan of Andres Bonifacio. So may mga issues sa leadership noon kaya nag-conduct sila ng Tijeros Convention primarily para magkaroon ng election at ma-organize yung Katipunan government or the revolutionary government. Okay, so ang nanalo sa election ay si General Emilio Aguinaldo. At para naman hindi ma-discourage si Andres Bonifacio, he made Bonifacio as the Director of Interior. Well, because of the allegations of cheating during the election, Andres Bonifacio did not assume the post, but rather he desired to be to part ways with the group of Emilio Aguinaldo. And of course, the rest is history. Okay? So the first director or head of the Department of Interior in the Katipunan government is no other than Andres Bonifacio. But somehow, since si Andres Bonifacio ay ayaw i-handle yung Department of Interior under the revolutionary government, at the same time, kinasuhan siya ng treason at pinapatay siya, then Emilio Aguinaldo appointed General Pascual Alvarez as the Secretary of the Interior of the revolutionary government. Okay? So nag-create sila ng revolutionary government in preparation sa total independence from the Spaniards, because during those times the revolutionary movement in the country was thinking that they are already winning at sila na ang magiging government ng ating bansa, kaya hinahanda na nila, nag-create na sila ng iba't ibang mga departmento sa revolutionary government. At of course, alam naman natin na hindi nag-materialize yung Katipunan government. So, in the Biak Nabado Constitution, in relation to the revolutionary government, gumawa na rin ng constitution yung sina General Emilio Aguinaldo. And we need to remember that the prominent leaders of the revolutionary movement during that time were educated in Europe and in other countries, even in America. So the Biak Nabado Constitution, well, in most likely, that is based, or that was based in the constitution of other countries. So alam na nila kung ano yung magiging struktura ng government. So part of the defined powers and functions of the Department of Interior in the Biak Nabato Constitution was that uh, the responsibility on statistics. And you might be wondering, ano ba statistics? Ito yung mga consensus, ito yung ano yung mga exact numbers ng tao sa Pilipinas, okay? Ano yung mga exact numbers on economic activities and like that. Okay? And you know, statistics is ginagamit yan ng mga policy makers nung unang panahon pa yan hanggang ngayon. Ang statistics o ang result ng statistics, yan ang ginagamit nila kung paano gumawa ng mga batas and mga policies and programs in particular or in a particular place. And of course, the Department of Interior was also in charge for the construction and maintenance of roads and bridges all over the country, as well as agriculture, public information and posts, and public order. So pansinin natin, ng Department of Interior ay lahat ng internal affairs ay sakop na ng Department of Interior. Okay? So, again, nung hindi nga nag-materialize yung independent Philippines na inaasam ng mga Pilipino nung late 1800s at pagpasok ng 1900, wala silang choice but rather to submit to the authorities of the Americans. So since the time of the Americans, yung mga Amerikano, nangako sila na bibigyan nila ng independence ang Pilipinas. But the problem ay hindi ito binigay kaagad. Ang pangako ng US was that they will just help the Filipinos to, we call it, to become self-reliant and to become a self-governed country. In other words, magiging transition lang kami, sabi nila, at bibigay din namin 2 years, bibigay namin ang kalayaan ninyo. So naniwala ang mga Filipino dahil nga may mga binigyan ng independence ang Amerika na kanilang mga colony just like Cuba, so naniwala sila. But it turned out na umabot na ng 20 years, 30 years ay hindi pa rin binibigay yung independence ng Pilipinas, kaya may mga insurgencies pa rin ng mga panahon na yan, uprising against the American governed Philippine government. Okay? Dahil nagka-interest ang Amerika because of the strategic location of the country insofar as economy and military is concerned. Okay? So, however, from 1901 hanggang doon sa tawag natin World War II, the Interior Department became the premier office of the government, tasked with various functions ranging from the supervision over all over local units, lahat ng mga municipalities, cities, and provinces, including forest conservation, okay? Public instructions, yung pag sinabing public instruction, yan yung education, control and supervision over the police, counterinsurgency, rehabilitation, community development, and cooperative development program. So, kikita natin na ang pinakamalaki at pinakamalawak ang saklaw na departamento ng ating bansa ay yung Department of Interior. No? Yan yung tawag natin na mula nung ito'y na-create noong 1897 hanggang pumasok ang 1950s. So after World War II, finally the Philippines was given its independence. Okay? So nagkaroon ng election, the Third Republic na tinatawag nila. And during the time of Elpidio Quirino in 1950, he abolished the department and transferred all the functions and the powers of the department into the office of the local government, later renamed Local Government and Civil Affairs Office, under the office of the President. Okay? At ang kasama dyan noon ni Quirino ay isa dyan, yung si Congressman Ramon Magsaysay. Now, Ramon Magsaysay, as the minister or the Secretary of National Defense during the time of Elpidio Quirino, he resigned. Okay? Dahil napahinto ni Magsaysay yung mga hukbalahaps. Yung mga hukbalahaps, yan yung mga lumaban sa Hapon, hukbo ng bayan laban sa mga Hapon, na meron silang pagkakomunista. Pero nung si President Ramon Magsaysay, ang tawag natin na naging Secretary ng National Defense, dahan-dahan ay napahina niya ang hukbalahap. For your information, ang hukbalahap, yung mga leaders niyan, sila yung mga prime movers ng New People's Army. Okay, so may mga allegations na si Ramon Magsaysay ay may pagkakomunista. Okay? So, but in the time of Ramon Magsaysay, he created the Presidential Assistant on Community Development to implement the Philippine Community Development Program that will coordinate and integrate on a national scale the efforts of various governmental and civic agencies to improve the living conditions in the various residents nationwide and make them self-reliant. Take note, this is 1956, so 10 years after the World War. And you know, umabot ng more than 20 years bago na-restore ang Pilipinas with the kind of devastation we suffered or the country suffered during World War II. So kailangan ng community development. So binigyan ng diin yung interior department at saka yung internal security kasi kapag dissatisfied yung mga tao, magulo ang ating bansa. You know that in your Anno Mitsuri na kung kulang ang employment, kulang ang legitimate goals, people will choose to we call it create a legitimate way of employment. Okay, so by the way, Ramon Magsaysay was a guerrilla. Then later on, he won as twice a congressman of Zambales, no? And in 1957, bumagsak yung eroplano na sinasakyan niya, namatay siya, and there were allegations na malamang it was authored by the Americans because Magsaysay was seen as a hindrance to the long-term plan of the American government na mag-stay sa Pilipinas. Dahil ang Amerika is anti-communist and si Magsaysay ay may kunting leaning sa communist dahil galing siya sa farming. Isa siyang galing sa farm, mahirap lang siya. And during his time ay siya ngayon ang nagbigay ng tinatawag nating land reform sa Pilipinas, no? Nabigyan ng pag-aari ng sakahan yung mga mahihirap na mga pamilya sa Pilipinas. Okay? So that is a very exciting history in the life of Ramon Magsaysay. Okay, so let's move on. When President Marcos became the president of this country, napansin niya na magulo, maggrabe ang insurgency, na organize ang New People's Army from the Hukbalahaps or from the Hawks. At gustong agawin ang kang bansa at ang problema ay the country have not recovered yet from the devastations of World War II. So in 1972, because of clear and imminent danger, because of lawlessness in the country, ay siya ay nag-declare ng martial law at na-abolish ang Congress. So siya ngayon ang naging lawmaker. So as a lawmaker, ay binigay niya ang kaunahang decree, the Presidential Decree number 1, creating the Department of Local Government and Community Development. Because sa isang national leader, kailangan niya ng suporta ng mga local leaders. At kapag paano man niya makukuha ang suporta ng local leaders, kailangan magkaroon ng autonomy, magkaroon ng development, magiging self-reliant at magiging self-govern ang mga local government. Okay? Pag na-ensure yung development, prosperity, peace ng mga local government, well, they will support the national government. So yun ang tinatawag natin political strategies ng mga nagiging presidente sa Pilipinas, yung Department of Interior. So through the letter of instruction number 7 dated November 1, 1972. So in 1982 ay by virtue of the 1973 Constitution, okay, the country became a parliamentary government. Okay, from the Democratic Republican, naging parliamentary government tayo. Sa Republican Democratic country, ang form of government is divided into 3 branches. So sa panahon ni Marcos, ginawa niyang 2 branches. Yung executive at saka yung legislative ay pinag-merge niya at yung judiciary ang isa. Bakit, class? Kasi tulad ng nangyayari ngayon, ay tawag natin, nagkakagulo sila sa budget kasi yung budget kailangan muna dadaan sa legislation. Gagawan ng batas bago ma-implement ng executive. So nag-aapura si Duterte na ma-approvean yung budget para makapag-move sila sa mga projects nila sa development by January. Otherwise, pag na-delay yan, delay rin yung releasing ng budget, delay lahat ang mga development program ng ating government. So ganun yon. So kaya ang ginawa ni President Marcos, pinagawa niyang parliamentary government para mabilis yung allocation ng funds, okay? At mabilis yung kanyang pag-utang sa World Bank, sa IMF, para hindi na dadaan sa legislation, controlled na ang gumagawa ng batas, okay? Kaya during his time, 1970s, 1980s, napabilis yung mga infrastructures in the country because nagkaroon siya ng mabilis na pagkuha ng loans sa World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. Okay, kaya napakabilis noon ng mga infrastruktura during his time in 1970s and in the 80s. But of course, yung nag-overstay si Marcos kaya nagsawa ang mga tao. So in 1986, this was that unpopular EDSA revolution. So depending on kung nasaan ka, anong tingin mo dyan, whether advantageous or not. Kapag kontra ka, of course, masama. Pag hindi ka kontra, mabuti lang yan. Okay? Anyways, balikan natin ang Department of Local Government. So, nagkaroon ng revolutionary government during the time of Cory Aquino kasi ayaw niyang i-implement yung 1973 Constitution. So, ang unang ginawa yung 1987 Constitution. At doon, ibinalik sa Republican Democratic yung form of government natin, ginawang 3 branches of the government, and based on Executive Order number 262, he renamed the Department of Local Government, okay? While waiting for further statutes na marireorganize ang lahat ng department sa ating bansa. So eventually, on December 13, 1990, we have the very popular Republic Act 6975, reorganizing the Department of Local Government into the Department of the Interior and Local Government. Okay, in which the PNP together with NAPOLCOM was integrated under the new DILG as together with the Bureau of Fire Protection, the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, and the Philippine Public Safety College. Okay, ang Philippine Public Safety College ay covered niya ng PNPA at ang mga training institute ng tri-bureaus. But of course today, we know na humiwalay na ang PNP. And one notable thing dito is that the DILG absorbed the National Action Committee on Anti-Hijacking from the Department of National Defense. Because ang hijacking problem is what you call an internal security. Kaya nararapat lang pupunta yan sa internal security natin, which is the DILG. Okay, for our trivia, the first American Secretary of Interior nung naging under tayo ng Amerika was Dean Worcester in 1901 to 1903. And when the DILG was organized into a DILG in 1991 by virtue of 6975, the first secretary of the DILG was Cesar Sareno from December 11, 1991 to June 30, 1992. Now, who is the incumbent or the current DILG secretary? Well, we have sikat siya, napapanood natin palagi, si General Eduardo Anyo. Okay, ito yung organizational structure ng DILG. I have already shown this in my previous lectures, in my previous video. Again, so we'll take a quick look. So you have the secretary, then you have the local government bureaus, okay, and then you have the Bureau of Fire Protection and the Bureau of Jail Management. And you take a look on the Philippine National Police. Okay, pansinin nyo, between secretary, there's a line, and then there is a broken line between the secretary and the National Police Commission. Yung broken line, nag-indicate yan ng coordination line. Meaning, although ang Philippine National Police is under the DILG, the supervision and administration is coordinated through the National Police Commission. So paano yan? If I am a police officer and I would like to practice my profession as a criminologist by teaching in the private academic institutions, hindi ako po pwede kasi kakasuhan ako ng moonlighting. So kukuha ako ng aking permit to practice my profession sa mga academic, we call it institution, kukuha ako ng permit ko sa National Police Commission. Kasi hindi sa DILG kasi nga nakaka-coordinate na yung administration and supervision of the PNP through the National Police Commission. Now, kapag ako naman ay personnel ng BFP or BGMP and I would like to teach in the private academies and I would like to practice my profession as a criminologist, then hindi ako kukuha sa NAPOLCOM ng permit but rather sa authorized representative ng DILG secretary. Yun ang idea nung command authority line at saka yung coordination line na nakikita natin sa ating organizational chart. So from this vantage point, we can see na napakalawak yung handle ng ating DILG. So what are the powers and functions of the DILG? Assist the President in the exercise of general supervision over local governments. Okay? Advise the President in the promulgation of policies, rules, regulations, and other issuances on the general supervision over local governments and on public order and safety. So ano nga ba ang ginagawa ng local government? Ang local government, meron din siyang sariling legislation sa local at meron siyang mga sariling mga law enforcement. Okay? Yan. When I say law enforcement activities, I'm not referring to the police. Okay? So, that is why class, ang mga mag-head ng mga police station or mga chief of police, yan ay nabigyan ng authority ang mga local chief executive to choose, okay, the COP or the provincial director from the list of nominees. So may say ang mga local chief executives because they know kung sino yung nararapat na maging COP or magiging hepe ng police sa probinsya because they know the problems in their locality. Okay, so the DILG is tasked to assist the President on those matters and advise the President on those matters. To establish also and prescribe rules, regulations, and other issuances, implementing laws on public order and safety, the general supervision over local governments, and the promotion of local autonomy and community empowerment. So tignan nyo doon, hindi mawawala yung implementation ng laws on public order and safety. Okay? So what else? The DILG has the responsibility to provide assistance towards legislation, meaning tutulong sila sa legislative body of the government kung ano ang mga nararapat na mga batas na magagamit para sa improvement ng local government as well as para sa law enforcement and public safety. Okay, so malaking say ang DILG sa napulkom natin concerning sa mga circulars about the Philippine National Police. Ganon din, ang DILG ay malaki ang role niyan doon sa mga nagbabalak gumawa ng batas para sa law enforcement and public safety. So they are also responsible in establishing and prescribing plans, policies, programs, and projects to promote peace and order, ensure public safety, and further strengthen the administrative, technical, and fiscal capabilities of local government offices and personnel. So fiscal capabilities. When you say fiscal, you're referring to the financial matters or aspect of governance. Okay? So tutulong ang DILG sa mga bagay. Kaya tignan nyo, itong panahon ng kalamidad at pandemya, through the DILG, yung pagbibigay ng mga tawag natin, mga financial assistance din. Of course, in addition sa DSWD. What else? To formulate plans, policies, and programs which will meet local emergencies arising from natural and man-made disasters. Okay? Kaya ang DILG ang namumuno sa mga coordinating councils ng disaster, ng kalamidad. Okay? Kaya ang BFP, ang PNP, ang BGMP, ang mga primary na mga nagre-responde in cases na mga mayroong natural and man-made disasters. At kapag hindi kaya, part ng trabaho rin ng EFP at ang mga reservists ay tutulong as rescuers or whatever support or help they can do to extend in cases may mga natural and man-made disasters sa mga localities. And to establish a system of coordination. Yan sinasabi ko, mag-establish ng coordination and cooperation. Kaya merong People's Law Enforcement Board para sa law enforcement. Okay? And to ensure effective and efficient delivery of basic services to the public. And organize, train, and equip primarily for the performance of police functions, a police force that is national in scope and civilian in character. So, malaking aspeto ang natutulong ng DILG doon sa mga policies na nakikreate affecting our Philippine National Police as well as the BFP and the BJMP. So which of the following is not one of the responsibilities of the DILG? None of the above. Because lahat yan ay responsibility ng DILG. Sir, what about rebellion? Take note, rebellion is an internal security threat. Anything about internal security ay sa DILG yan. At sinasabi ng Constitution natin, in case of insurrections, rebellion, okay, in case of insurgency, if the PNP is not capable, then the armed forces ay tutulong sa counter operation against insurgency. That's why, kapag nagpulis kayo, ay mayroon kayong tinatawag na BISOC, the basic internal BISOC, Internal Security Operations Course. Dati yan yung tinatawag nyong scout. Okay? So, ang purpose niyan is para sa counter-insurgency kasi ang PNP ang leader diyan. Nag-a-assist lang at tumutulong lamang ang Armed Forces of the Philippines. Now, let's take a look on the bird's eye view on ano ang mga powers and functions ng tri-bureaus sa DILG. So the PNP, obviously, for law enforcement, for maintenance of peace and order, prevention of crimes, effecting arrests, and bringing offenders to justice and assisting in prosecution, exercising the general power to make arrests, search, and seizure in accordance with the Constitution and pertinent laws, to detain arrested persons for a period not beyond what is prescribed by law, and to issue licenses for the possession of firearms and explosives in accordance with the law, and to supervise and control the training and operations of security agencies. Well, we are going to discuss comprehensively all these things in different lectures and lesson. Of the example, so on the picture on the left, pansinin natin na this has something to do with the outreach program. Because ang PNP do not expect na if you are a police officer, puro baril ang hawak mo. You are what you call the arm of the DILG in the development of the locality. That is why more often than not, maraming mga outreach programs, maraming mga police community programs na ginagawa ang kapulisan because yung mga activity na yan are all in line with the powers and functions of the Department of Interior and Local Government. What about the Bureau of Fire Protection? Well, it is responsible for the prevention and suppression of all destructive fires and responsible for the enforcement of the fire code and other related laws and have the power to investigate all causes of fires and, if necessary, to file the proper complaints with the city or provincial prosecutor who has jurisdiction over the case. And all elements of the BFP, upon the diction of the President, meaning upon the order of the President, will assist the armed forces of the Philippines in meeting the national emergency. Pag may mga national emergency, kasama na riyan ng possible invasion. Kapag hindi kaya ng AFP, papatulong na rin sila sa BGMP, saka sa BFP, saka sa PNP. That is why when you train under the BFP, meron din kayong military sticks kasi part yan later on na in case may national emergency, kaakibat ng EFP ang mga local law enforcement agencies including BFP and BGMP in suppressing that national emergency. And of course, the BFP shall establish fire stations with adequate personal firefighting facilities and equipment in every provincial, capital, city, and municipality. So again, if you notice, dumarami ang quota sa BFP because dumarami ang mga fire station. Nilalagyan dapat lahat ng municipality dapat merong fire station. Dati kasi, kanyan, kapag isang fire station, 3 town ang hawak niya or 2 town. Ngayon, slowly the country is creating fire stations in every municipality. So these are some of the works, obviously, for firefighting, and the left picture on conducting of fire drill and fire education. The provincial jails are directly under they are not under the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. They are under the provincial governments. Okay? So, maraming issue dyan, no? Ang mga provincial jail ay pinaglalaroan daw ng mga local politics. Yan, kaya mayroong move na ang mga provincial jail ay ipasa na sa BGMP. And accordingly, may mga ilang provincial jail na naipasa doon sa BGMP. Pero mas maraming provincial governors at mga local politicians, they do not want that the provincial jail be transferred to the BGMP kasi mawawalan sila ng budget. At isa yan sa mga pinaglalaroan nila at mga instrument nila ng corruption. Of course, I'm not saying that everyone is doing it. Pero maraming insidenteng ganyan na ang provincial jail, since under provincial government, ay ginagawang laruan ng mga provincial governors. The Bureau of Jail Management Penology to formulate policies and guidelines in the administration of all district, city, and municipal jails. District, ang district niyan, hindi yan yung probinsya. Pero ang district, say for example, sa Municipal Circuit Trial Court. Pag sinabi mong Municipal Circuit Trial Court, yung isang trial court na yan, isang municipal trial court, ay 2 o 3 or 4 na munisipyo ang coverage niyan. Kapag sinabi mo namang district jail, mga more than 1 municipalities naman ang gumagamit diyan. Yun ang ibig sabihin niyan. Okay? So implementing strong security measures for the control of inmates and providing for the basic needs of inmates and conducting activities for the development of inmates and improve jail facilities and promoting general welfare and development of personnel. So you notice na hindi lamang sila safekeeper ng mga detainees and persons deprived of liberty, but rather kailangan din nilang magkaroon ng mga reformative programs, rehabilitation programs, because ang mga inmates Kaya kinukulong yan para magkaroon ng specific deterrence. Kasi kapag nasa labas ang mga criminals, okay, pag hindi nakakulong ang mga yan, they are a threat to the peace and order in the community. Okay, so doon pumapasok ang BGMP. Ngayon, eventually, i-release yung mga prisoners or persons deprived of liberty, and it is the responsibility of the BGMP to reform and to help them to be reformed and rehabilitate so that paglabas nila, hindi na sila magiging threat to peace and security in the locality. These are some of the work of the BGMP. So nagkakandak ng Operation Greyhound at tinatanggal yung mga bagay-bagay na nakakasira doon sa reformation and rehabilitation ng mga prisoners. At the same time, outside the jail ay nag-escort din sila ng mga PDLs sa kanilang mga tawag natin emergencies or particularly sa kanilang pag-appear sa mga trial courts. Okay? So that's all for this subject or for this lesson. Again, good day and God bless you all.